98 and 2. All of it's truth. It's 98% your truth, 2% the truth. Since your part of the truth doesn't have the complete truth, there's not a truth that fits everyone here. That other 2% is really just a fun way of saying you don't have it. If 37 individuals come together to make one Hermetica, a thrice great was born on the fourth row. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great's favorite number, and the Hermetica is 4 for a lot of reasons. That, as a principle, goes well into the psychology that gave us the truth. That psychology belongs to one being. It does know. You won't tell it what it does know, because that's your 98%. That other 2% is that being, which creates this truth for itself. Once that being has that truth, like we do, you will not collectively say it's our truth as the truth, because that truth was put together by it. It is a group of minds, not one mind, giving us 98% of the truth, while the other percentage of the experience is still part of that mind, the truth, arguing over that truth with itself. That truth comes from too many individuals to be relatable to one being. If that one being is being with the truth, it's not saying anything about it now. To argue with something that doesn't have it, I should know that your 2% will not have the 98, and the 98 will never have the 2. That will always be the expression here in this realm of that being. That being experienced the being of itself being divided from itself to figure out the mystery of itself, which is there isn't one. This is you. What you know is integral to yourself, to your soul, to your being. I will not use someone else's words to be whipped with my own words, because my mouth works just as well as anyone else's. And how I conclude things would be well to know that logic helps in any direction. Logos, the different elements of these aspects of mind that developed, not just from a handful of people, but the person in general, the human being, its creator, its source of creation, what they were asked not to do, what they did do, and how it plays out. It's all in the order of how it was explained. The only problem that most people fight, A, is the truth. Number one, it is. B, is the truth. You deny it, even when you do know it, because it's that funky to you. Then you hurt others with the truth because you have the truth, but you're too scared to tell anyone. That's how they killed us for so long. If you claim to have the truth, you better know the truth is not your truth alone. That's our truth. So if our truth has no truth, it's because our truth is divided. And as one truth, you do not have the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, because God is all things. That truth doesn't speak well for itself on its own, because that truth doesn't have one by itself here, but in you, where you go to be whole with yourself as God with God, is safe. That God being knows all things. That God reveals the mystery. That God tests you with the ideas that it gave. Those ideas are being played out through every single one of you in this experience, and you are being tested by that experience in every single bit of these same ways. We test ourselves with this mystery. That mystery is you remembering it's your truth. Also holding that truth equally with everyone else, because it's our truth. So 98% won't argue with 2. If 2 knows it belongs to 98, that's 100. And you don't need zeros for that, though I'm glad we have a couple. That's just for 1. To remind itself that I gotta come out of all of the information to go back into the information carefully, as it has been pulled apart by the one who made the information, you. To be shared with the information, us. By that information, the experience, which is the truth, not you, the person, but the truth, the experience, that we are recalling perfectly right now, because this is happening perfectly as it's happening. I did not fudge the results. The results are yours alone, just like I found it. So now that we all have it individually, our truth synchronizes to match the experience of one being remembering the mystery of being, which is being with itself at that level. If you've done that, you're certainly not fighting about it. We are sitting silent with me now. My words are not useless. They were used to remind you that if I use my words to talk about a truth, it better fit everybody's mold. Since it does not, that's for you. To fit it how you wish, to be with the pieces how you may, to enjoy the sum of our wisdom as a group, the whole of the experience as that being when you are being with it being. On that day, no matter what day it is, one day, when you come to, if you fight yourself with that information, it shows. Be honest about that, please. Because I'm the information, and it shows when you fight me with my information. My information says my logic is going to come in to save me every time something doesn't make sense. That's safe for me. What's not safe for me is to pretend I know something when I don't. It's one thing to be aware of it. It's another thing to know it entirely because you are its source of creation. If you know it at that level, we're not talking about it because you're long gone in spirit, talking about something we made a long time ago that's still playing with us today. That truth, Hermetica, might have been great 3 times. For 1, Hermes Trismegistus. The favorite number being 4, because to me, what's great about being great is knowing you're not that great. So, having been great 3 times, maybe on 4, you just sat silent with it. Not to be nameless, not to be anything, just to be happy. Perhaps they didn't realize how happy a happy was because they were unhappy about happy being happy also. If that's the truth, we're all in trouble. Since it's not the truth, we don't have to get in trouble with ourselves. We go out and make our truth with our own life to live by the example. If that example sits with you the right way, then you no longer have to worry about your truth being wrong because your truth is being lived through the experience as the truth today. That we're not going to recount in 4,000 years perfectly, by my standard, unless we have a way to do that, by their standards, that fit our standards perfectly, like this standard, the one recording it, which is not getting in the way of its truth. It's completely unbiased. It's called a camera. If you're doing that, great. That's close to being like God to observe. Because you didn't get in the way of something that is. You will get in your own way with the truth when you accept it at that level, unless you are with God. God will walk you through it because God already did that. God's also telling you, you don't have to. God would like you to know that if you do, you will fail. To be like that perfectly, you will not. To be like you now, you are perfect to be like that perfectly because it is. If you understood that, then you don't have to be imperfect with your perfection because you are perfectly on the path of something that is guiding you with all the same information that you had before. This information now. So this information now is correct. going forward. The bias was not there because the camera didn't get in the way of it. Now, this information going forward, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years ago into the future, thousands of years ago into the future right now, will always make sense because the camera didn't get in the way of anything I was saying. So this is one piece of information. Not all of it, just one piece. But like that, it's integral to itself. So my piece comes from having the piece that created that information, which is still going to be found in you alone. That could be 100% in you, but it still looks like 98 and 2 to everybody else. So everyone else is still at that level until they make the connection. When they make the connection, 98 goes with 2 pretty quickly. Like that, it's a light switch, on and off. Except yours goes on, stays on. That's how that works. So, when all of the individuals came together to remember that, and it took a football team or so to do it, it's nice to feel guided by one being who says, all those beings are right here with us at this classroom, your mind, completing that level of thought for us, with us, because that is the truth divided from itself, holding itself together. It wants to keep us as a family. I'm not sure it knows how. It being us, not the one that created religion or the experience talking to itself about a self divided from itself as that self that needed a lesson for itself to see itself as that self talking to itself so I could see me now, so help me God, and it does. That truth doesn't have to hurt you because I know you are the 98 and 2. I also know you are just 1. I also remember that not that long ago, I was 98 and 2 also, up until this moment. Now it's 1 because I gave you the message that helped me find it integrally, so the sum of my wisdom is not absolute pain, it's peace. If we're in pain with this message, that's your pain alone. I may not help you with that. I do not want to be in pain with your pain. I love how I look at things. It makes sense. So I don't have to hurt with a truth that isn't the entire truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God, because that is happening all the time, with or without you. And our opinion of what keeps us together as a human race. The human race is special. I won't say it's special because it's wrong, but you could say it's wrong to say it's special, and that's its problem right now. It's not that special. So, when we realize how not special it is, it becomes a bit more like normal. Because that's how special normal is. It's normal. But that's how special is also. So if you caught that, great. Now we're special again for not being special. Everyone's normal. Yay. And that's a good way to deal with it. So if that truth isn't getting in the way of my truth, it's because the camera's not yelling at me for saying things the way that I want to, because it makes sense to me. If that's the case, great. It's my best friend at the moment. And this is a piece of reality talking to me through all of you saying, you know what, we love you that much. We didn't want to get in your way. So here, use this. It's not going to yell at you. Great. Awesome. Thanks, phone. I'll just wait for other things that like the phone, that creates the phone, to get in the way when they decide that the creator of the phone doesn't exist and the phone was here before anything else, and that creator is noticed, but I made the phone, so I get to whip you with it. Says someone on the other side of the phone listening to this now, not the phone itself or the technology. So you see, what we created isn't the problem, but creation could be a problem if what we created doesn't remember how it got here and whips you with it anyway. So don't whip me with my phone because you're hearing it. It hears me just fine and doesn't get in my way. So be like my phone. Observe. Listen. Completely unbiased, unchanged even, by the experience. Though you will be. Technically, my phone was not. It's doing its job. Which is what we made it for. So that's why we're here. Your truth The truth, the whole truth. The whole truth is the whole truth. The truth is the truth, and your truth is your truth. That's all we got. Anything else is a mystery. If you're playing with that, you have no truth with that today. If we're still using those words in the way that they use them, you're playing with something that's connecting the dot. If you connected a dot, you're no longer 98 and 2. You are 1. And that is the truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. So help us God. It did. It did, and it does. Thank you. So, thanks. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good life. Have a good way. Thank you. That's love.